अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः स्थित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तावारिणे। We are very glad that Swami Shantivratanandaji, who is the minister in charge of our center in Ireland, has come all the way to address the devotees here. He is a young monk but extremely promising, well read in our scriptures. He is very well received in Ireland. He has already been to several other countries. He has chosen a beautiful topic, the paradox of I. Maharaj will explain. He will speak about 45 minutes. So today's shrine will be open for a little more. Normally we close at 7:30 because if we stop we will extend. So of course it's a very important topic. Guru Maharaj says in Gospel, Ami Varle Kuchibe Janja. The death of I is the end of all our troubles and problems. Even if you have to Sakshet mein bolna hai about all sadhana, the entire sadhana is aimed at the erasure of the I. Advaita mein kya hai? When you completely get over, when this is completely erased, then there is no second, there is no duality. That oneness, it also incidentally signifies the erasure of the complete elimination of I. In bhakti also, when all the I goes and there is only God, there is only the Ishta, there is only the Aradhya Devata, that is the highest. In yoga also what happens is Mani, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the last vestige of the individuality clinging in the form of I. That also goes in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, just the highest state. In karma also what is the highest, as Swamiji talks about, self-application of the highest order, where you are ready to give up everything, including your own life. So obviously that also signifies the more and more you can erase this I, more and more you progress in the direction of unselfish work, and that is what would lead you to redemption. So of course Maharaj will be discussing from his own standpoint. He must have thought about it. I just gave a brief introduction. I now request Maharaj to take over.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. My reverential pranams to Shantatmanji Maharaj, and many thanks for giving this opportunity to share my views with our dear devotees, and my loving namaskars to all the devotees assembled here. So today's topic is paradox of I. This I is a single letter, very problematic, very important, and for that we are all struggling. So probably I will start my talk with a story, then you will be able to get the paradox of I. Two youngsters who were interested in Vedanta, they had started their Vedantic journey. They had read something, some maybe a Upanishad and little Prakarana Granthas, introductory manuals we can say. They had read and they had their own queries, of course, and they approached a guru. So the disciple A asked, Sir, how to end the suffering? This is an age-old question. Age-old question. Even in the Sankhya Karika it starts with. Why we should read Sankhya Karika if you ask? Because we have got three types of suffering. To end three types of suffering, we should read Sankhya Karika. Even it starts with. In Buddha's teachings also it comes. So it is an age-old question. He also asked, Sir, how to end the suffering? Or how can I end the suffering? The Guru told very clearly, remove that I, then no more suffering. How can I end the suffering? remove that I, then no more suffering. He is trying to understand this deep meaning and the significant meaning behind this statement. Meanwhile, another young chap, maybe B, he said, "Sir, how can I be happy at all times?" See, first fellow asked, "How can I end the suffering?" And the second fellow is asked, very contradictory, probably looks like, appears like. He asked, "Sir, how can I be happy at all times?" Even that's also our thinking. How can I be happy at all times? Blissful, peaceful. Then the Guru gave a very simple and straightforward answer. Understand that I, then you can be happy at all times. Both of them were startled. They started scratching their heads. It looks very tautology. For the first question, he said, remove the I, then the suffering, we can lose the suffering, we can end the suffering. And for the second question, he is saying that realize that I, then you can be happy at all times. So both started scratching their heads and they were looking at each other. Probably a thought might have appeared in their mind. I think this Guru doesn't know the answer. That's why simply is beating around the bush. Guru could understand, by seeing their faces, he could understand that, the students couldn't understand the purport of his statement. Then he started explaining, my dear, when you asked how to end the suffering, I did say that remove that I, then you can end the suffering. When I say that remove that I means this I which is attached to body and mind. The I which is attached to body and mind. What does it mean? I have a body, we all know that. For that there is not much intelligence, not Vedanta studies also not required. I have a body, I have a mind, just like we have a mobile, I have a mobile. So similarly, I have a body, I have a mind also. But we behave, I am a body, I am a mind. That's why we are all suffering. I have a body, but we are behaving, I am the body, that's why all the suffering. The question goes, or the question might come, what is the difference? When I can see or I get convinced that I have a body, there may be pain in my body, but there will be no suffering. For example, I had a fall, there was a scar or maybe a twist, ankle twist. Definitely, if I am a Vedantin or I am thinking I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the indestructible self, I am thinking and I am get convinced. So I had a fall and I had an ankle twist. Will I not have a pain? Definitely will have a pain. Even Sri Ramakrishna had a fall and he had also had a fracture in his hand. He was also experiencing the pain. He was experiencing the pain. All of us, we do experience the pain. But there will be no suffering. When we get attached to our body and mind, this pain will be translated to suffering. That's where we keep on thinking suffering is because of a person, because of a place, because of a situation, X, Y, Z. But all of them are secondary reasons. The main reason is me actually. Because I am attached to this body and mind, that's why I am suffering. So when I start getting convinced, when I start looking at I have a body and I am not the body, pain may be there, but there will be no suffering. That's the one thing. And one more is, I will switch over to objective mode, from subjective mode to objective mode. For example, I have got a mobile, it's iPhone. We worked and we earned money and we paid and we purchased a mobile, or I purchased a mobile. So I am supposed to be the master and the mobile is my instrument. Unfortunately, nowadays, all of us, how we are behaving? As if we have become the slaves of the mobile. Mobile is our master and I am its slave. I am supposed to be the master and the mobile is supposed to be the slave or my instrument, but instead of that, I have become the slave of my mobile. Why again? Because I have attached to mobile. If I start using the mobile as an instrument, then no more attachment will be there. Then I'll be using very objectively, then mobile cannot be any threat or any problem for us. Nowadays, in the Europe, there is a one word, kind word is becoming very famous. They are using the word called screen fasting. Screen fasting means not using the mobile. Every day you have to practice 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. We should not use laptops, or we should not use tablet. We should not use especially cell phones, so that we should be away from few hours from all these gadgets. Screen fasting is becoming very prominent in the Europe. So this is what the difference between attachment. So if I start thinking that mobile is an instrument, I owe it, let me use for communication, let me use for transactions or whatever. But so when I start seeing this as an instrumental mode, I will not be attached. So it's same way, when I say I have a body, I am not the body, I'll be using this body and mind as an instrument, maybe as a spiritual sadhana, or to develop bhakti, to develop jnana, or to go near God, or to fulfill my desires. So this is what, when the Guru said first, remove that I, means that don't get attached to the body and mind. Now the next question might come, well Swamiji, all of us we know this, nothing new about this, but we are not able to practice, or we are trying, we are not able to get out from this completely, including every one of us. Why this is happening? So the Shastras, the scripture says, because Satyatva, they use the word, technical word, it is called Paribhashika Shabda, technical word, it is called Satyatva Buddhi. Satyatva Buddhi means the notion of reality. Though we all know that I am going to die at some point of time, this body will be turned into pot full of ash, though we all know that, but we think, our mind plays with us, we are living like, eternally. So this body and mind is real for us, that's where we are clinging to it, we are getting attached to it. The moment the Satyatva Buddhi shifts from body mind to the self, again all these problems subsides, suffering subsides. Maybe again I will tell a small story which makes the point clear. When we were small, father brings two dolls made up of same material, same shape, everything is same price, etc. Only the change was in color. One was white in color, the other was pink in color. Now brother and sister is there. Brother said, oh, I like pink color. Elder brother is elder one. So he said, I like a pink toy, pink color toy. I will take it, and he took it. Then the younger sister, she says, oh, no, I like pink color. I need a pink color toy. Then both of them, they start fighting, they cry, crying, all these things happens. We also might have done all this. Then father or mother, granny, they give a small lecture, pep talk they will give. Oh, it is made up of same material, same worth. Whether it is a white color tie or pink color tie, what does it matter? Both of you take each. And if not, sometime next when we go to the market or when we go that said, let me get a pink color tie, that's not an issue. But we don't listen. We cry, we quarrel, and we may get beatings or whatever. Now say 20, 25 years over, the same, both of them, brother and sister, have grown up. In the same house, maybe with their children or others, young children, they are playing the same situation, struggling or quarreling with the white and pink color tie. When we see that, when we witness that incident, same incident, or similar incident, we laugh at it. We remember our childhood memories and said, oh, 2 decades before, myself and my sister, we quarreled for this pink color tie. And now the same thing, children are doing it. Now if you see, there is no change in the tie. Only the change is there in our mind. What is the change in our mind? We are physically grown. We are mentally and intellectually also grown. So we know the worth of the tie, either white color tie or pink color tie, it is a tie. Well, I may like pink color, that doesn't mean that I should be obsessed and I should cry and I should struggle to get that pink color tie. It's a white color tie or a pink color tie, it should not matter too much. Really, it should not matter at all for that matter. So, there is no change in the tie, only there is change in my mindset. Why? Because the notion of reality is no more in that white or pink color. When we were small or when we were young, we felt that pink color tie, getting pink color tie is the alpha and omega of my life. Now that Satyatva Buddhi has been shifted there, shifted to some other item or some other material, as a result, our mind is not obsessed. So when the mind is not obsessed, why? Because the Satyatva Buddhi has shifted, the notion of reality has been shifted, so it is no more important, no more relevant for us. The Vedanta says it should be same thing with our body, with our mind and this world also. We need body, we need mind, which are instruments, and we need this world also to fructify our karma phala, but we need to get attached. That's what we can see in all the great people's life. Sri Ramakrishna himself, we all know that he descended on this world to help us, to uplift us and all. He himself says once to Master Mahashaya, Mahendranath Gupta, look, if this world would have been true, I would have covered my birthplace Kamarpukur with a golden sheet. So he was very clear, this world is not real, rather it is an appearance. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, we read in Advaitic statement. So the Guru started, when he said that remove the tie, then you can end the suffering. We mean that the notion of reality has to shift from body-mind to the self, or from the world to the consciousness. We need all of them. We need money, we need people, we need property, we need vehicles, we need mobile, cell phones and etc. etc. All is for our livelihood, no doubt, but that should not be the alpha and omega of our life. One thing. And second thing, rather we should use them as an instrument, as an objective mode, rather to getting attached to all these things. That's what the Guru said, remove that I. Basically the notion of reality. Now, the second question was, how can I be happy at all times? What was the Guru's answer? The Guru's answer was, experience that I, then you can be happy at all given point of time. So what does it mean? I am that indestructible self, indestructible, eternal self. The moment I experience it, then no more suffering, no more cycle of birth and death, no more transmigration. So this is what the Vedanta is trying to tell, Brahmananda or Brahmanubhava. Now, at right now, are we not selves? Am I not self? Are you not self? Yes. We are selves even now, whether we are aware or we are not aware, we are selves, but unfortunately, we have been misled by ignorance. So that's why Vedanta is trying to remind our true nature. As Swami Vivekananda says, we are always divine, inherently we are divine, but we are forgotten. And as a result, we are suffering. Again, we are suffering means what? Our body and mind is suffering. When this Vedanta can be put into practice in our day-to-day life, we can be happy at all given point of times. And very interestingly, if you see, many times we have got a notion, till Swamiji coming, the Vedanta has been, it's the part of the monastic or monastery, and it is for monks basically. That was a notion to the larger part of Indians. But if you see the origin of Vedanta, Vedanta didn't come from the forest. Vedanta didn't come from Vedanta didn't come from monasteries. Rather, Vedanta came from the busiest places in the world, like palaces. Vedanta was originated from the king's palace basically. So what does it signify? Vedanta can be practiced at anywhere by anybody. It is not only for monks, it is not only for mendicants, rather it is for everyone. And when we are in the world, when we are busy in our work or in family affairs, business affairs, for us the Vedanta is more relevant and it is most possible. That's what the origin of Vedanta signifies, and Swami Vivekananda also testifies this. And if you see the Bhagavad Gita, the immortal philosophy, where it was started or where it was discussed? In the battlefield. It itself shows very clearly that Vedanta can be practiced in our working place or in our house or in our any profession, though we are so busy in our professions. Probably again, I had wonderful opportunity to stay with senior monks in Ramakrishna Math, Halasuru, Bangalore. I joined there. Quite a good amount of senior monks were there. And I was looking after them, their medical needs, every day checking their BP, sugar, and giving medicines and etc. This work, one of the work was assigned for me. Revered Swami Kamalananji, after my going, in a year or two, he took his retirement and he came and he settled in Bangalore, Alsur Ashram. Then our Adhyaksha Swamiji asked me to look after his medical needs also. And every day I used to check his BP, sugar, and he himself used to make a fun that his sugar and BP is abnormally normal. So every day it used to be very erratic. Sometimes 150, fasting blood sugar, it was 150, sometimes 200, sometimes 400, sometimes 350 and that. And he was never bothered about it. And we used to ask Maharaj, this is a position and all. That's why body has its own nature. And he never used to bother. Maybe a year or two over. And one day, and by the time he had already angiogram, he had a very severe chest pain, and he felt it is really alarming. And he informed me, and we informed the doctor. Doctor came and he checked, and he said there is some significant change in him, so it is better to take to hospital. Then we rushed to the Okad hospital. So we rushed and they started doing some exams and different exams and all. For 2-3 days, different times they are taking to the different labs, checking and again bringing back. I was all along with him. How much ever we say Vedantin, we are monks and etc. At that given point of time, we might get little disturbed or maybe little anxiety or apprehension, maybe if not so much. We may not be crying, we may not be collapsing, but still some apprehension, some anxiety can be there as a human nature. But very interestingly, in him there was no any apprehension even, no anxiety, no stress, nothing. Just like before when he was in the ashram, how he was so calm and composed, in the same way he is there in the hospital also. There is no change in him at all. So I, being a young novice, it was very notable experience for me. 3 days, day in and day out, I observed this and I asked, Maharaj, if you don't mind, can I ask you a question? And he used to be very jovial and he said, yes. Then he said, Maharaj, it is something personal, so can I ask you? He said, yes, go ahead. From 3 days I am observing you. There is no even an iota of a small portion of anxiety or apprehension or stress or what happens to you, nothing. How is it possible? He told a secret, or he told that, yes, you have caught me right. Why I am not disturbed, At some point of time in my life, by the God's grace and Gurudev's blessings, I had a blessing that I could really feel or experience that I am not this body and mind, I am that self. That's the reason that has given me tremendous strength. Abhinivesha, that is the fear of death. So I am able to conquer or I am able to get away from this fear of death. That's why there is no stress or no anxiety, no apprehension. When I heard this, I was very startled. He says, only once in his lifetime, he had that experience, I am not the body and mind, I am the self. And that has equipped him to face the fear of death, to face the death or whatever. And all these, diseases, blood pressure, diabetic and angiogram, angioplasty and all. He was himself making one joke that he was taken to the hospital and he was taken to the operation theatre. While going, suddenly he had a blood vomit. And a good amount of blood he vomited. And the doctor and the nurses who were handling him, they got a bit stressed or they got a bit worried what is happening before going to OT itself. These things are happening. Even at that juncture, he said, don't worry, I am an experienced patient. So you carry on. See, at that given point of time, that jovialness or a hearty laugh, how is it possible? Until otherwise, when we get strongly convinced, I am the self, not the body and mind, it is not possible. So all our spiritual practices, all our maybe study, japa, meditation, attending like the satsangs or spiritual retreats and all, finally we have to switch over to, finally we have to transfer or transcend ourselves to, I am not the body and mind, rather I am the self. This is what all our finally spiritual journey. It is very simple, it is very profound, it is very straightforward, but it takes a great amount of time for us to switch over from I am the body and mind, instead of that I am the self. So I have a body and mind and I am the self. And also Vedanta tells very clearly, if you ask, or if we ask a common person who has a body, if you ask, oh, body has a self, we think, but Vedanta says, no, it is not right. Rather, self has a body. Self has a body, body doesn't have a self. So self has a body means what? I owe a body, just like an instrument, or I owe a house, I owe a vehicle, I owe a gadgets like that. Self is owing a body, that's all. Again, it is an instrumental mode or objective mode. So all our sufferings, if you see, it is because of presence of something or absence of something. Because he or she is there, I am suffering. He or she is not there, I am suffering. A thing is there, I am suffering. A thing is not there, I am suffering. So all my suffering is what? Because an absence of something or presence of something. So my suffering is always because of depending externally on something. So that dependence, that external dependence, unnecessary external dependence has to be curbed, has to be curtailed, has to be shifted. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says in his own simple language. We should try to live God-centered life. Means we should depend more and more on God. If you see from the Bhakti Yoga point of view, from the world-centered life, as we being devotees, we have to shift to the God-centered life. That's all is about spiritual practice. If you see from the Jnana Yoga point of view, Swami also, he beautifully in his introductory talk, he briefed all these ideas. From the body-centered life, we should go self-centered life. Self means conscious-centered life. From the Jnana Yoga point of view, from the Bhakti Yoga point of view, if you see, it is from world-centered life or world-dependent life, we should switch over to God-centered life. This is what all our sadhana is. Why we are doing japa, why we are doing meditation, and etc. And in Sri Ramakrishna's, again in his own beautiful style, he tells from Pakami, we have to transfer Kachami, from Kachami to Pakami. From unripened ego, we should get ripened ego. He uses the same idea in a different language. So, spiritual sadhana is very simple, very straightforward, and it is a one simple change. From world-centered to God-centered, or from body-mind-centered to the conscious-centered life, that's all. And for all that, then all our tapas, vratas or sadhana, whatever we are doing, all this has just preparation. Just preparation. When the preparation is done, enough preparation is done, when enough we are ready, at a spur of moment, we get this awareness, we get this realization. Again, when Vedanta says we get realization means what? It is only the removal of ignorance or removal of the wrong notion. I am the body and mind. Instead of that, I have a body and mind and I am that self. And again, interestingly, the Vedanta says, why should I know who am I? If you ask, because that is the source of happiness. I keep giving this simple example. Chocolate ice cream. When I was in Mysore, we were 20 monks. Unfortunately, I was always odd out there with the ice cream case. Most of them, all the monks were used to like vanilla or butterscotch ice cream. And I used to like chocolate ice cream. So I was odd out there. So whenever if someone gets chocolate ice cream, they used to say, oh, it is Shantivratanandaji's interest, you give away, we are not interested there. Now, I say, oh, if there is a chocolate ice cream, it is very difficult to control. It is highly tempting. Other monk said, no, it is boring. Chocolate ice cream is boring. It is not so. Now you see, I am enjoying the chocolate ice cream, and controlling the chocolate ice cream is very, very difficult, Herculean task you may say, and for others it is not so. So whether that happiness, whatever I am deriving from the chocolate ice cream, whether it is in chocolate ice cream or it is in me. If that happiness would have been in chocolate ice cream, everyone should have been derived, everyone should get derived there. But everyone is not deriving the happiness from chocolate ice cream. Only few of us only were deriving. That means what? Because my mind likes, I like we use, but still my mind, because of the habit or because of the samskaras tendencies, somehow I have developed the taste towards the chocolate ice cream. So I like it, so it is bringing me happiness, it is giving me happiness. That's what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. It is not that the thing itself doesn't give happiness or suffering. How I react, how I see things, based on that we get happiness or unhappiness, more or less. And that source of happiness is what? I am in that self, and I am that self. But we are all searching for that happiness either in the people or in the things or in the maybe name and fame or power, position, or in buildings, whatnot. So with all these struggles, with all this going roundabout like a round robin, finally we get tired and we come back and we come to know that, oh my God, I was searching in the entire world, where can I get happiness, where can I get happiness? Now I come to know that happiness is in me, nowhere else. It was a vain search. But is it vain? No. So all of my struggling, all of that gymnastics or exercise and all of that search made me finally, or it prepared my mind finally to resolve the issue or to realize the thing that happiness doesn't exist anywhere else, it is in me only. This is what the Vedanta is trying to tell. Now when we understand this, when we put into practice, we can be happy at all times. Most revered Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj to tell. When you understand all these things, when you put into practice, what is the final outcome? And he has used two words which is very simple and very profound again. He used to tell, from what to so what. We will travel from what to so what. What means what? The world is real. What? Did she say this? What? Can he say this? What? Did it happen like this? We keep on making this statement, this type of statements. Then with a realized person he says, oh, it happened. Okay, is it happened like this? So what? It is not again carelessness. Rather, it doesn't disturb that. That's what we mean. It is not negligence, it is not carelessness or whatever. It is the notion of reality has been shifted from the world to the self. So all our Vedantic journey is what? Traveling from, shifting ourselves from what to so what. And again, very maybe as a corollary you can say, as a byproduct you can say, so when we start understanding this Vedanta or even the devotion, and when we start practicing ourselves, when we go little by little advance, when we progress in our spiritual life, in our life there will be a significant change in all of us. What can be the significant change? If we are really pursuing the spiritual life and we are progressing step by step, and a good amount of progress when it happens in our day-to-day life, we will stop reacting and we will start responding. When we really practice the spirituality and when we start practicing the Vedanta in our life regularly, we will stop reacting and we will start responding. All the great people, they responded to the situations, they responded to the people, they never reacted. And we keep reacting to the situations and people and we lose a lot of our energy, time, peace and whatnot. So when we put the Vedanta into practice, this is what happens. And one more thing which I understood when I studied Vedanta, if you really put into practice, you will never try to change people, rather you will change yourself. Because we always keep thinking in the family, oh, if my husband little changes, I'll be happy. I can be happy. And husband thinks same thing. If my wife changes these things, we can be happy. Same thing with the children. Children will be thinking about the parents. neighbors, and when we are working with our colleagues or a boss, our juniors and all. So we always think by changing some situation externally, if people change, if situation changes, I can be happy. The Vedanta is asking us, stop that, my dear. That will never happen. That may happen, that might not happen. Change yourself. That's what when we say mithya, this is one of the way we should accept, or this is what I understand or I think. So stop expecting the changes outside, more or less. Rather, you start changing yourself, then things will fall into place most of the time. If not, you are not disturbed. Again, if you very minutely observe, read in between lines with Holy Mother's life, Sri Ramakrishna's life, that's what the case. Sri Ramakrishna had Hridayram. He did serve and he created enough trouble. And Sri Ramakrishna had one more very interesting guy, Hazra, such a hypocrite, and used to make very irresponsible comments on Sri Ramakrishna. But Sri Ramakrishna was never carried over by all these things. And if you see the Holy Mother, she is the greatest Advaita Vedantin. Why? She was surrounded by such a very typical people, madcap like a Radhi and Surabhala, and very narrow-minded with a Nalini and Maku, and very selfish people like his own brothers, and what all typical like a museum we can keep in museums, but such typical people were surrounded in and around Mother. But she was happy. Of course, she herself is Mahamaya, that is a different. But what does it signify? So even in spite of all these things, one can be happy, one can be peaceful. So peaceful and happiness, peace and happiness doesn't, depend on all of them, rather it depends on me. So self-reliance will be taught by Vedanta. Again, if you start practicing the Vedanta, we will be happy at all given point of times. Again, it is not a negligence. It is not carelessness, rather it is only transcending. So the source of happiness is in me, and I am that source of happiness, and I am that happiness. May Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji bless us so that we shall understand this and we shall put into practice. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Om Itagni Dahika Shakti Ramakrishni Sitahiya Sarva Vidya Swarupamta Sharadam Pranamamya. Dear Shantivratanandaji and the devotees, we heartily thank Maharaj for sparing time. He was traveling somewhere, somehow, just by sheer coincidence, he happened to come to Delhi, and immediately the moment we came to know, we somehow caught hold of him and said he must come and address our devotees. And I'm quite happy that so many of you came, although it's winter, cold, it's a weekday, so we always try to arrange good talks, good program, but we have to find a lot of inner happiness that whether devotees come or not, still it will be wonderful. That's our condition. But you all come, and I think we've got a very good glimpse of how to lead a spiritual life, how to accept the idea that we are beyond body, beyond mind, how that can be put into practice. Because don't worry about ice creams, you can take all ice creams. But remember that the real happiness lies in us and not in the ice cream. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, all of you. Namaskar. Shri Ram.